everybody, welcome back to my channel, Fixing It Up with Sandra. In case you're new here, I'm Sandra, and today we're gonna do something fun. I was watching a tutorial last night with Deco Exchange. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. And I got totally inspired. Ours is gonna be a little different because we're gonna use a wreath board from the Dollar Tree, and Deco Exchange used a board from Unique in the Creek. If you haven't heard of Unique in the Creek, I highly suggest you find them on YouTube, subscribe, and watch some of their tutorials because they're fabulous. But here's what we're gonna be working with today. So I don't know if you've seen these boards at your local Dollar Tree. I've had these for quite some time. So if you can't find them just yet, maybe online, but this is what we're going to be using. Now, this is not, the whole placement in here is nothing like Unique in the Creek. And again, if you're not sure what that is or anything like that, Google or check them out on YouTube. But Unique in the Creek created a board like this. They were the first ones to do it, and they have specific hole placements to do specific wreaths. Like they have one for a rose, they have flowers, they have Christmas trees, they have all kinds of stuff. Very, very cute. One day we'll be doing a wreath with one of their boards, but for right now, we're gonna use this board right here. And so this is what the board looks like. This is the large, just in case you were wondering. There is a smaller one that the Dollar Tree has carried, and I do have some of those. We'll do that at a later time. But this is the board that we're gonna be working with. Let me see if it gives me a size. It does not. So here's what it looks like. And forgive my dog. There's gonna be all kinds of weird noises throughout this tutorial because all of my animals are right around me, and my dog is old, lots of issues, but she's fine. So anyways, what we're gonna end up doing is making our board look like this, and we're gonna create a flower. All right, I will go over everything on this board here in just a moment. Just so you know, you'll need zip ties. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I got me a bunch of black zip ties. I also have the clear. I started out with the black because that's what I had on hand. So I have all of these little zip ties. These are, just in case you're wondering, these are the 7.5-inch zip ties. They'll work just fine. If you have bigger ones, don't worry, those are gonna work. If you have smaller ones, you don't want them to get too small, but you would be fine. So I've got my stack over here. Here's what our board originally looked like. Here's what it's going to look like. Now, what we're doing for this flower, because that's what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a flower. We're gonna work with 3 different mesh. Now, all of them are 10-inch mesh in width. So I have a green, which is the green with the kind of shiny string running all through it. Then we have, I wanna say this is like a poly mesh. I have to look at the tag, but it does have like the fabric, like rope running through it. And so this is that color. It is still quite thin when it's by itself, see, like that. And then we have purple. So these are the 3 colors that we're working with. You can do more. If you have more and you wanna do it extra colorful, feel free to do more. And I'll show you how we're gonna do that. Now, we cut these, all of these pieces are cut into a square. So it's a 10-inch square. So it's 10 inches in width, 10 inches in length, okay? And I will let you know how much of what you're gonna need. So I already have mine pre-cut to kind of save us all the time. I've already put the zip ties on my board, again, to save time, but now let me explain. Okay, so what I did, as you can see, is through the very first row, I put a zip tie in every 2 right here, all the way around. Now, on this board in particular, there are 18 zip ties when they're like this, okay? They have their own little space right here, like so, okay? You're gonna do 18 around, and that's where I'm gonna do my green. I'm gonna do my first color, because I wanted to do kind of like a little leafy background is what I was going for. I hope it comes out because, as you know, I don't really plan too much. It's all up in here, but let's make sure that it works out on here. My second row right here, as you can see, we went into every single hole. So we're like, there's a gap right here. I put a zip tie in every single hole right here. With that being done, we skipped a row right here. We skipped this row and we went right here. So this also has 18 zip ties in this row when you go into every single hole. Now that's gonna be this color right here. Then I skipped a row and then did the same thing on the following row after that. Went right here. Now this is gonna be my purple, okay? And then this very center, again, we did the same technique every single hole, and I'm going to do this color. Now let me say this first off. I haven't done one of these in so long. We may have to possibly put zip ties in this row and fill it up if the flower is starting to look sparse. I don't know that for sure. I do have other flower tutorials where I use this board. I quickly glanced at it, but different mesh, you can get away with probably skipping rows. If you have like a really thick mesh, which is not as see-through as this, like if it's a full, I have a couple of those meshes and I can't think of the name right now, but like where they're full, like there's no see-through or anything like that, you could probably get away with skipping, even not doing every single one. But because we're working with a thinner mesh, we are gonna do every hole. And so we may have to make adjustments, we may not, but we will see. So as you can see, I already have something started because I was kind of testing it out, but I will explain how we are going to do the petals on each row, okay? Because they're gonna be a little different. So we're gonna work on the outer row right here, which I said I want it to be my leaf. So what I'm gonna do, I cut 18 of these green pieces, and again, they're 10 inches by 10 inches, okay? So let me put my camera down so I can show you exactly what I'm doing. We're gonna move things out of the way. Oh, and just to let you know, this is gonna be our centerpiece. And through the magic of television, or the camera, this will be painted before it is placed onto the center. So this is gonna be our center. I got it from the Dollar Tree, super cute. You can use any kind of sign that you want. You can do Easter eggs, and we'll get more into that as we get done with this, but this is right here is what I'm gonna use. So let's put that to the side and let's point the camera down. All right, so we are going to spread out our mesh and the curl side is up, all right? And what we're gonna do is take it from one corner to the other. So we kind of have like a little triangle right here. Now, mesh has a mind of its own. So if it's not laying perfectly flat, whatnot, it's okay. Just try to get it as close to as, laying like all on the edges as possible. All right, so this is what we have. So what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna try to straighten mine out just a little bit more. Now, all of the mesh that I bought from Habitat for Humanity store. They have a Restore. And so I paid like $3 a roll for this mesh. And I did that like a few years ago, but that's the mesh that I'm using. You can use mesh from anywhere. I don't recommend, well, the smaller, the mesh at the dollar store, I recommend using the 10-inch one. All right, so we're gonna take one corner and we're gonna point it down, but not tug it, because I'll show you here in just a second. And then we're gonna take the other corner and bring it down like this. And this is what I'm gonna show you. And then we're gonna pinch the end. But well, this is very loose. Let me get it correct before I show you. All right, so kind of pin one corner down. And then as you get more familiar with this, it will be a little easy to do. So let me go ahead right here. And this is what you have, like this, okay? Super cute. This is what I want my leaves to look like. And we're gonna go ahead and take our board. We're gonna place it into one of the zip ties. And as you can see, when you put the zip ties on here, you don't have to do the whole board prepped like this. You can do this one zip tie at a time, one zip tie at a time, one zip tie at a time, especially if you're a beginner and you don't want to waste the zip ties and you're not quite sure how you want your hole placement to be. Feel free to do one at a time. There is nothing wrong with that. That is how I started out doing this. So now we have our board prep, and I'm just gonna find the next zip tie, place my petal or my leaf in there. I'm gonna bring it all the way down, bring the whole tail in there, and then I'm gonna close this up. All right, so I closed that up, and then you can adjust it a little bit because, so see how that is right there? Now, the one thing I will tell you on these boards, especially if you're comparing it to Unique in the Creek, you can see how far apart these holes are. So sometimes when you put your mesh into the zip tie, and even when you pull it tight, it's still gonna probably be a little loose. That's okay. We can always fix it with our glue gun at the very end if it seems to be like a real problem. You can glue the mesh down, but sometimes you'll see that you don't have a real tight fit, like that mesh is not like really tight onto your board. That's okay. Again, it can be fixed at a later point in time with some hot glue, no problem. And so now what we're gonna do is go ahead and do our entire outer edge with the green, because that's what I want to do with my leaf. Now, you don't have to do an outer edge like with a leaf if you don't want, and I'm just very loosely, I'm calling it a leaf. Is that exactly what this is to some people? No, but it's my leaf. So now we're going to place another one in there, and oh so carefully. And mesh is pretty durable, so you can kind of give it a tug. All right, and then we will once we get all the way around, we're gonna go ahead and cut off our zip ties. And what you wanna do is you wanna cut down to the, all the way down to where it locks in. You don't want it to stick up because you don't want it to, you know, poke into the other flower. So you want it to be like so, right there. Get that end off. And if you need to adjust your petals, feel free to do so. And I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way around. Let me pull up my sleeves. All right, so I'm gonna go all the way around, like so. And again, if your mesh is not cooperating and it's trying to do its own thing, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be perfect every single time. My mesh, you know, sometimes it wants to curl, like one side wants to curl a certain way. It's okay. Especially when you're dealing with like the thinner kind of mesh, it tends to do that. So there we go. Get that good in there. And like I said, you'll feel that it still kind of moves around, but that's okay. All right, cut that off. All right, let me go ahead and get the greenery all the way around. Like I said, I watched Deco Exchange last night, and maybe that's where you want to go see the Unique in the Creek board. I know you could, last night, purchase the Unique in the Creek board. You could purchase the mesh that they were using, the centerpiece, everything that was being done in the video, like everything that she showed, you could purchase. So if you are someone who was like, you know what, I don't want to start out with the Dollar Tree one, I want to go ahead and get that Unique in the Creek board, I would recommend you go over to their, probably on their website, and see what their flower looked like, what was the inspiration for me, and then maybe grab that whole set. Okay. All right, so we've got a ways to go. All right, so we got a ways to go, and I will be right back, and I will show you how all my leaves look. All right, so now we've got the complete outer edge done. Look at how pretty this is. I love how this looks. Okay, let me just show you the petals up close. That's how they look. And you can see that my petals are not 100% identical. They're all a little different. And I also want to point out, so the rolls of mesh that I have are 10 by 30 feet. So I did 18 leaf petals on the outside. Here is what I want to show you, just in case you're someone that is like me, that doesn't really do the math, like, okay, if it's 10 by 10, I'll have this. This is how much mesh you will have left over. So if you made a couple of mistakes on a couple of the pieces and you're like, well, I have extra, will I have enough? Do I need to buy 2 rolls? One roll that is 30 feet long will be more than plenty to do this and to maybe have a few mistakes. So again, this is what I have right here. And now we are going to start on our second row. We're gonna start, and I say second because we're gonna skip this one. This is our second row right here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 again. So we have the same amount right here as we did on the outside. So 18 here, 18 here. I'm gonna flip it over and we are going to do this pretty pastel mesh right here. However, we're gonna do our petals a little different. We're gonna take our 10 by 10 piece, like so, all right? And we are going to take one end of the one pointed end and bring it to the center, and then bring our other pointed end to meet that one. So you have it like so. Let me show you. So it looks like this. This is what you're going for. And once you have that, and try to be as close to in the center as possible. And then once you do that, you're gonna kind of scrunch this little centerpiece like so until you have this bow. Now what you're gonna do is once you have this bow, you're gonna kind of sort of overlap like this, bring it to the middle, but not just straight up, but kind of twisted it, overlapping. So this is what you have. If yours is not perfect, mine's not perfect. This is just how I do mine. However you do you should work just as good. All right, so this is what I have right here. So now I'm gonna take my board and I'm gonna find my zip tie and lay this right inside so. And there we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut my zip tie down. All right, now let's see. I'm gonna try to pull this down so you can see what it looks like. All right. Now if the edges start to fray, don't worry. So this is what it looks like. I currently have 2 on there. So see, I have 1 and 2. And then we're just gonna do this all the way around. And again, we have 18. I also want to point out that if you do have the Unique in the Creek board, it does not have this many holes. So like your outer edge, it probably will be more like 12 as opposed to the 18 that this board has. So you won't have to use as much mesh. And then we're gonna just do this again. Get it like so. Pinch, kind of twist on top of each other like this, and then place it into your pipe cleaner. And again, I'm gonna say this throughout this entire process. If your mesh feels like it's wiggling a little too much in there, it's okay. That's just how this board is. We can always go back in with some hot glue and fix that at a later point in time. And like so. And like so. And the one thing that I really, not only do I absolutely adore how flowers look, you can do a flower on a wire frame. I believe I have a tutorial with that already. We'll be doing another one very soon. But I like the fact that this is very simple. You don't need all of the trinkets that, well, I don't need all of the trinkets that I normally put on a wreath, because this the flower is already just so beautiful by itself. And you can adjust, like if you can tuck in your edges, kind of spread the petals out just a little bit, don't pull too hard because you don't want it to come out from your zip tie. And this is pretty easy to do because you're not doing any kind of like fancy cuts or anything like that. You're simply just doing 10 by 10 cuts, and you can get creative with your petals. You don't have to do the petals like I'm doing. You can, you know, have your petals any shape that you want, have fun with it. And again, I want to do one, we will be doing one, where it's like rainbow colors. I just cannot wait to do that. I am so excited. There's so many fun things that you can do with this. And for the center, there's a lot of different ways you can do the center. And like I said, I have a bunch of these boards, so, you know, get ready to see a lot of flowers in many different styles coming soon. And I've also done a rose. I did a rose on my channel with this board. That was a little bit tricky. We will do another one again. And I definitely recommend a little bit of hot glue for that one, because the petals did start to come loose at one point, I remember. But here we go. And you're just gonna do this over and over and over again. And take your time. This, I wanna say, with prep and everything, it took me over, I don't know, probably took me about 15 minutes to maybe like 20 minutes to prep the board. You can always prep this board when you're sitting down, maybe watching your favorite TV show. Just get a bunch of the boards prepped. If you're a passenger on a long car ride, bring your goods and prep your boards. Make that car ride useful. But yeah, you can probably prep the board in about 15 minutes. And then, I don't know, this, if I wasn't recording, you know, probably go a little bit faster. But I'm going just slow enough to where everybody can kind of see what I'm doing. And I don't know, I would say like an hour total, you know, but do not worry about, I had somebody ask me this, don't be worried about the time that it takes for you to create. I want to say that right now. I used to fret about, I'm such a perfectionist, and so I used to fret about how much time does it take? How come mine doesn't look exactly like theirs? And I don't have all the same tools. You know, it's borrowed problems. That's what it is. I think that's what I'm saying it right. Borrowed problems. When you are, and I'm going to say this very loosely, like when you are a beginner, and I have been doing wreaths, I think for about 8-9 years now. I still mess up, take longer with some than the others. I still don't know exactly what I'm doing. There's no right way to create, you know? And I always go back like to a painter, like to an artist, like somebody who paints. You never question like how long it takes them to decide how they're going to paint their masterpiece or what inspired it. Like you don't question anything. You just, painters and creators, you know, musicians, it just happens. And they sometimes can come out with the most beautiful things in under, you know, so many minutes. And then sometimes the masterpiece takes a week, you know, or whatnot. Let your creativity take as long as it needs or as fast as it can go. Don't rush anything. Don't compare, because comparison, we all know this because we all on I believe we're all on Instagram. Comparison is the killer of joy. So please do not let anything be the killer of your joy. And know that even though you're watching a tutorial that is, you know, 30, 45 minutes long, I did some prep, you know, I cut my mesh, I went and made lunch, I came back and I did I did my board, you know, I just randomly throughout the day got this all ready. I didn't just sit down from start to finish and did this. I was like, da-da-da, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do that. So just have fun. Do not worry about the length of time that it takes for you to create. And if you're someone who's completely brand new, maybe over time you're gonna get faster and faster. Who knows? And if not, it's okay. Oh, it's gonna cut that off. But just have fun. All right, we are just about done with that row. And here we go. We've almost got all 18. I like how it looks. Even though we skipped a row and we are using like a thinner type of mesh, you'll see here in just a few moments that it's not, the flower's not see-through. Like you can't see through the board. It's really full. So, okay, like so. And I just love it. All right, we got one more. All right, there we go. Let's pinch this together. And then I'll pan the camera out just so you can get a good view of how this looks. I love the pastels. I think they're so pretty. All right, let me pan the camera out. So here we go. Here's what it looks like with just our 2 rows on there. How stinking cute is this? Ah! I love it. And I love that this back row is completely different than the front or than the second row, because it makes it stands out, doesn't it? Just so pretty. But here is how it looks. Super cute. And if you have frayed edges, don't worry about it. We'll go over it. Well, you can always, because I thought this was a frayed edge, but it is, but I thought it was a loose edge, and I'll go back through and cut it. Got a couple, no worries. Now we're gonna go on to our row right here. We're gonna go into this row right here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 for this row right here, and that's the purple. That's what we're gonna work on right now. And so far, and we're gonna do the same technique. We're gonna do the overlap in the center, like so. Do a little bit of a squish, and then kind of do the overlap. And as you can see, this mesh is definitely see-through, definitely thinner, but that's okay. We're still going to skip that one row. And okay, and this is where the closer you get to the center, the width, the distance between the holes gets much bigger. Here, I'll show you. And this is where I see like where the mesh could come loose out, but here, I'm gonna show you in the back. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna show up good, but anyways, the width from this hole to this hole is much different than this one right here, and then also this one right here. So as you get closer, see how far apart these holes are? As you get closer to the center, it's a much wider, thing for your zip tie. So just be careful when you place your mesh into that zip tie that it may or may not fall out. Again, if you need to use hot glue to kind of hold your mesh down, and I'll show you if you have to, how I would do it. Let me just get another one in here. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in there. All right, now, get that good and tight. Now here's the thing. If you find that your mesh is constantly slipping out from underneath that zip tie, here's what I would do. Okay, right here on top of the zip tie and the mesh, I would just put like a little dab of hot glue to kind of hold it down. I wouldn't put the hot glue onto this plastic, because with this plastic, it tends to pop right up. But right on top, just very little, and nobody's gonna be able to see it. Just add a little bit of glue and then let it dry before you put your next layer on. but that's where I would put the glue. And I think I did that with my rose flower. I had to do that a couple of times because the mesh was just slipping out. All right. And then just, you can adjust your petals like so. All right. And if you wanted to make a really full flower, you can do every single row if you wanted to. And we will be doing that when we do our rainbow one. We're gonna do every single row. We might do every single hole. I honest to goodness cannot wait to do a rainbow flower. I'm super, super excited about that. Just pull that just a hair tighter. There we go. And it's just about done. Now the purple isn't really super like just sticking out, but that's okay. It's just a little hint. I love that little pastel. And like I said, there was only 8 that we're doing. I hope you guys are finding this easy to follow along. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And I will show you guys how I would hang this, where I'm gonna place like a pipe cleaner to hang, or you can use wire. And then I'll also show you how we're going to attach our bunny. All right, we got one more. All right. And also, if your mesh is a little thin, like if you're like, you know what, I really love this mesh, it's a little thin, double up, you could put 2 pieces of mesh on top of each other and then create your petal. Or here's another thing, you can do 2 petals into 1 zip tie if you wanted. That's why I say get creative and do what works for you, because like I said, there's plenty of room in that zip tie to put 2 sets of petals in that 1 zip tie once you start getting towards the center. There we go. Oh. All right, now let me show you what the purple looks like. It's very light. Hold on, I've got like a little, all right, let me just cut this off real fast. It's gonna bother me. There we go. All right, do you see the purple? I love, it's just very shimmery, very light, very soft. And now we're going to do the center. We're gonna do the center right here. That's what we have left. And like I said, when we do our rainbow one, we're gonna do all of these, and we might do it with every single hole filled. Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. So you gotta make sure that you're subscribed and that you hit that bell for notifications for when I upload another tutorial, because you never know if it's gonna be that rainbow flower, because that is on my mind. All right, so we're gonna do the center, and we're gonna go back to our pink, the multicolored mesh. All right. Oh, start to slip. All right, and this one kind of turned a little bit, so I'm gonna somewhat adjust it as best as I can. All right, there we go. We're just gonna do corner to the center, and then do a little scrunch. All right, there we go. And then one right on top of another. And I'm curious if you guys are into the flower design. Do you guys have these mesh boards? That's what or these flower boards. I'm super curious to see if you guys, if your local Dollar Tree has them. I have not seen them at my local Dollar Tree here in quite some time, but I don't know if they have them on their website. I know when I saw them for the very first time at my local Dollar Tree, I was floored because I had been following Unique in the Creek for quite some time. And then all of a sudden there was boards, and then I realized, oh, it doesn't have the same hole placement. But with playing around with them like I am right now, I'm like, oh, okay, not too shabby. We can figure out how to use these, even though like they're quite different. So, but I'm wondering what you guys have, like if you guys have these, if you've ever seen them. Do you know have you heard of Unique in the Creek? What's your favorite board from Unique in the Creek? All the stuff, I wanna know everything. All right. Ooh. All right, and we got one more piece. All right, we got our last piece that's going in here right now. Like so. Oh my gosh, I'm just so happy with how this turned out. Oh my gosh, I'm always so excited. All right, I can't wait to show you. All right, like I said, there are some frayed edges. Don't worry, we'll take care of that. But bam, what do you guys think about this? It's so pretty. Oh my God, I'm so in love with it. So like, you see how you can like, it's very faint, the purple and whatnot, but isn't it beautiful? It just screams Easter to me. All right, so I have to paint my, my sign, which I'm gonna do, but I'm just gonna show you real fast how it's gonna, I will be right back. We're gonna finish the video, but this is what it's gonna look like. Shut up. Oh my God. I don't know. It's perfect. So let me go ahead and paint the sign and I'll be right back. All right, guys. There was a little snafu with the original centerpiece. I stained it with this stain right here. I did not like how it was so dark against this, but that's okay. In my world, we learn how to pivot. And I just heard Ross's voice in my head, and that is what we are going to do right now. So at the Dollar Tree, I actually was just there today, and I picked up these cute little Easter eggs right here, and it came with a little bunny one and a purple one. So that is what we're going to use, and I'm still just as thrilled because it's so perfect. So we're gonna toss that over there for just a moment. And like I said, I'm gonna show you how to attach the centerpiece to the flower. 1 second, let me grab a pipe cleaner. All right, so I'm waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up, and we're going to attach the pipe cleaner to the back of this little piece right here. While we're waiting for the hot glue gun to heat up, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to attach the pipe cleaner back here so we can hang it. So I'm just gonna go between one of these holes right here, or these two holes right here. I'm gonna bend my pipe cleaner like so, and I'm gonna go in this way, okay? So we're gonna come through like so, and make sure not to disturb my petals. So I got one side right here, and then here's the other side. So you're gonna bring the pipe cleaner all the way up, and I'm going to tie it, literally tie it, even though it's wire. We're gonna tie it. Okay. And this is how you're gonna be able to hang this adorable flower. Okay, so then we're gonna, all right, tie it, and then with the little edge piece, just wrap it around the pipe cleaner, like so, okay? Just twist it around, and then take this piece and pull it through, and now you've got a little hanger right here. All right, and I believe our glue gun should be ready. I'm gonna go ahead and come over here. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna place a line here, and I'll show you here in just a moment. I'm just gonna hold it down pretty tight so So I just glued a little line and then I placed my pipe cleaner like so. And we're just gonna let this dry, and I'm actually gonna put a little bit of glue on top just so we have this nice and secure. And because my hot glue gun is like one of them it's a stronger one, the glue comes out really, really hot, so it just takes a little bit longer for it to dry. And while I'm sitting here waiting for this to dry, I do want to show you, I did also pick up these adorable Easter eggs. You can, if you want, also put Easter eggs in the center if you want. I did, my other tutorial has the eggs in the center, but we are going to be working with this. All right. Yeah. It's just a few more minutes. I am so sorry that this is taking so long. All right. Now I'm still a little on the tacky side, so we're going to bend it like here, and then we're going to thread it. Again, I'm gonna let that sit there for a second. Oh, here's my top. Make sure that you have your top correct. So we're going to thread it. Let me just stand up. So we're gonna thread our pipe cleaners through these holes right here, and then attach it like so. That is how we're going to do it. And again, make sure that you have, I'm gonna make sure that I have my top is right there. All right, so now I know exactly how I'm going to place it in there as soon as it is, okay. I'm gonna do this a little gently because it's still a little on the wet side. So how adorable is this? So then we're gonna flip it over. Like I said, my Easter egg is still a little on the wet side, so we're just going to take it and then secure it like so. Now you can, if you want, glue your centerpiece directly to the flower. I'm just gonna do a light thing. All right. Oh my goodness, what do you think of that? How stinking adorable. I love it. Here's a close-up of the centerpiece right here. I actually think that this is even better than the one that we did. Let me just try to move the camera up without doing too much. Oh my gosh, so cute. I love it. Love, love, love. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have the back. Once I feel that the center, once I feel that this is completely dry, I'm gonna actually twist it look a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the longer edge, and then just kind of tuck this. Also, for those who are gonna ask, you can, if you want, I have done this, I've taken drop cloth, you can take felt, you can take a really cute fabric, if you've got some, you know, those fat quarters that you can get from Walmart or the Dollar Tree, and you can glue it to the back of this board if you do not want this to be seen. Right now, I'm not going to do anything like that. I don't have any plans to cover this back, but if that is something that you want to do, definitely cut out your fabric before you even start anything. Make that one of the things that you do first. But I'm happy with the way it is. I love it. Oh my gosh. How cute did that come out? So like I said, even though we had to pivot like we always do on this channel, it still came out super cute and I'm super excited about it. It's gonna go in the shop tomorrow. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything that you saw or you wanna know anything about this wreath, feel free to ask in the comments below. I will get back to you. If you want to see like daily content about other things that I create for my shop, anything like that, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the description box. And make sure that you're subscribed to the channel because like I said, you want to hit that notification bell because you never know when I'm going to do something really cool like a rainbow flower. It's going to be phenomenal. I think I might have to do it tomorrow because it's really all I can think about right now. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something today and I will see you again in my next tutorial.